here on Biloxi's Back Bay. I want to welcome you to Super Talk Outdoors, where we celebrate every single Monday at lunchtime the world-class outdoors of the state of Mississippi. Because as I say every week, we are the capital of the outdoors in America. I want to thank you for joining us on the powerful Super Talk Mississippi Radio Network or on Super Talk TV at C Spire TV. But if you're watching the show on YouTube or Facebook or listening on your favorite podcast, it's April the 17th. 2023. I especially want to thank the title sponsor of Super Talk Outdoors, the Foundation. Formal name is the Foundation for Mississippi Wildlife Fisheries and Parks. They are a 501(c) that helps the Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fisheries and Parks in so many different ways. But through their financial support, we have a lot of wildlife and education projects that are associated with the Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fisheries and Parks. And that's so important that we help fill those sort of financial gaps. The foundation also focuses on important issues around protecting Mississippi's wildlife and outdoors heritage. I want to remind you, I say this every week these days, but the views expressed on this show are mine, not those of the foundation. I'm an independent voice, and I'm here for outdoorsmen and women of the state, and I'm honored to be here. Hey, listen, over the weekend, Mossy Oaks Gamekeepers posted something that I've read many times before. Just a great reminder of sort of what it's all about. But it is, let me get over here real quick to it. It is from Job's 12, and it's chapter 7 through 10. And here's what it says. But ask the beasts, and they will teach you. The birds of the heavens, and they will tell you. And the bushes of the earth, and they will teach you. And the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all those does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of all mankind. What a great reminder that we are so blessed to live in and have such an incredible opportunity to enjoy the outdoors in this great state of Mississippi. Hey, listen, Adam Butler is going to be joining me in the second half of the show to talk about last week's the Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fisheries and Parks Commission meeting, and a really important conversation they had around turkey hunting. Adam has sort of signaled some of the things that they would be talking about. They had that meeting. He's going to be joining me, and we're going to talk more about that. And now I want to turn to my friend Steve Azar, the singer-songwriter from Mississippi, the music and cultural ambassador for the state of Mississippi, who wrote the theme song for Super Talk Outdoors and the state song for Mississippi, One Mississippi. I just wanted to check in with him and see how things are going with Steve. How you doing, my friend?
I'm messing around with my camera right now, and Kyle's going to kill me. I'm good. Hey, happy.
Hey, listen, you had a really, really important event over the weekend, and had singer-songwriters coming in from all over the country. Tell me about that. How did it go?
Well, they're from all over the country, obviously. Most of them grew up in rural areas and farmland. So we brought them to the farm down at my buddy Tim and Angie's, the Ponies. They have this wonderful gin at Dunleith, where we figured out it'd be a great place to put a songwriter festival on. It was good. It was really good. Everybody sounded good. I was telling my wife, Gwen, I said, amazing how incredible everyone sang. I mean, songwriters, a lot of times you're going like, oh, they're not really the best singers because they have to get somebody to sing their songs. I'm telling you, it was insane how good they were. It just reminded me of not only are they such talented songwriters and they've written so many hits, but they're also blessed with an incredible voice and way of articulating their own words better than the artists do it. It's just better. In fact, Leanne Womack's one of the greatest singers ever, but Aaron Enderlin, one of Leanne's biggest songs, is written by Aaron Enderlin. Aaron's been songwriter, entertainer of the year in Arkansas. They have an Arkansas award show that's pretty amazing every year, and she's been entertainer of the year like 5 times. And her voice, it was like you close your eyes and you're going like, I'm not sure she's not better than Leanne. And that's, you know what that's saying, So anyway, it was just a reminder of their talent, and we had a great time. And we had breakfast together, and we took a mug shot of us all having after breakfast at Jim's Cafe. And everybody loves Evelyn and Catherine there at Jim's. They're third and fourth generation, and Jim's is from 1909. That's when Jim started. So you walk in and you feel like it's still 1909, you know. So they all love it. They become friends with Evelyn and Catherine, and they have to go there. So that was a highlight, just getting breakfast together and talking. And we said at what they call the table of knowledge, which is where a bunch of the old timers through generations have died off and new ones show up, but you have to sort of be invited to the table of knowledge. Every time I walk in, they kind of look at me, and if there's an empty chair, they sort of take the chair away. So anyway, so we sat at their table of knowledge and took a picture of it.
Yeah, I saw the picture, and what a great group of people. But when we're talking about bringing really good songwriters to the table, give our audience a sense of the kind of songs that were represented at your Mockingbird Songwriters Festival this past weekend.
I'm just going to tell you the artists because it's easier for me to do that. I mean, from George Strait's biggest hits to Keith Urban to Hootie and the Blowfish to Darius to Leanne Womack to Martina McBride to Dwight Yoakam to I Ain't That Lonely Yet, Broken Wing, all that was played, and because it's just hit after hit. What a beautiful mess, oh my gosh, it's just, I ain't that lonely yet. No, I ain't that lonely yet. You look up and you go, it's my buddy wrote that. I just love it. And the stories behind them are the greatest because it's just a reminder of where the inspiration come from and when we as songwriters really need it and when we got it and when it showed up and just the blessing of it, because I was goofing off this morning, having coffee and messing around with an idea of a song. And I'm going like, well, that's pretty good. But you don't know until you get through it. But, we spent a lot of time practicing, and then when every once in a while you realize, oh my goodness, it was game day today. And there it is. And it's something,
Yeah, I see that so clearly. One of the reasons, well, go ahead and finish. You had another point you were going to make?
It's just not easy. We're really good at writing anything really good. Now, so the craft is there. So we can turn an okay idea into a really good song. It doesn't mean that it ever needs to find the light of day, though. It's the really great ideas that come. And we always talk about it. You have to be in the room. The room, you got to get into the room. It's almost like it has to be game day. You got to be on the field. And every once in a while, you're not practicing. You're actually playing a real game. And you feel it and you know it.
Well, Steve, one of the reasons I wanted to invite you to be part of this today is that you had this nice event this past weekend, and you had your friends from the industry here, and they say the same thing every time they come to the Delta. They love coming here. They love what's in the heart and soul. A lot of them are from rural areas, so they have a sense of that. But a portion of the proceeds went to the tornado relief effort, and as we were in the sort of aftermath, you and I had this terrific visit on my show on the Coast View. As we're in this aftermath, folks are coming out of the woodwork wanting to help us recover in any way they could. But there was this new dimension this year, wasn't there? That we just got to pay homage to the wonderful people of the Delta.
It's just remarkable. I mean, it has really been in the forefront. It's not like it right when it happened, there is a sense of urgency, right? But that sense of urgency hasn't seemed to fade yet. And it's been a couple weeks, right? So I love seeing that because it's devastating what happened. And so I do love seeing, you and I talk about the compassion, spirit, man, when we see so much negativity constantly in the news. And not a lot of people want to talk about the people that are doing good things because apparently it's just not newsworthy. But I'm telling you, it's the most newsworthy I've seen in a while. It's beautiful to see everybody care so much, and
it is
the storyline of who we are.
Yeah, it is the storyline for sure.
Yeah. Hey, I was going to tell you, all my buddies, this show's about hunting and fishing. You do know all my buddies I bring down here, they're big hunters and big fishermen. I mean, they love it. In fact, my buddy Wynn Varble, who co-wrote with Don Sampson, who was here Waiting on a Woman, and he wrote Have You Forgotten? And anyway, quite a few big songs, at least a handful of number ones and top fives or whatever, but even bigger, even hits beyond that.
Hey, Steve, let's do this. Let's pick the story up right there on the other side, because I don't want to have to stop you right in the middle of what your story is going to be. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Steve Azar, and then in the second half of the show, we'll be joined by Adam Butler, who's going to talk to me about some important conversations happening around turkey seasons going forward. We'll see you after this break.
I said 3 Mississippi to this land called home. I'll breathe Mississippi till I'm dead and gone. Just carry on, I'll carry on, Mississippi.
Leading the conversation on Mississippi's outdoors. It's Super Talk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. I have my friend Steve Azar, who wrote the theme song for Super Talk Outdoors and the state song for Mississippi. When we went to break, we were talking about this incredible event that he held this past weekend, a songwriters festival called the Mockingbird Songwriters Festival in Leland, Mississippi. Had his singer-songwriter friends coming in from all over the country, and he was saying that they like to hunt and fish, and he was about to tell us a story, and I didn't want him to get halfway through the story and then have to cut him off. So why don't you pick it up from there, Steve?
Thanks, Ricky. So, I mean, it's a topic of conversation in a lot of songs, that we all write. I mean, my only Christmas song is Catfish Christmas, for goodness sake. So we gravitate toward food and anything outdoorsy and anything that has to do with that and the spirit of it. But my buddy Wynn's got this song called, and it hadn't been recorded yet. It's called Fishing on a Star. And it's about his dad, who's passed away, obviously, and all the memories they used to have. And he just hopes he's up there fishing on a star, like looking up. And it's almost like it blows your mind. It's a hidden waiting, right? And I made him send it to me the other day because I just had to listen to it. And it's funny that I was recording with Kenny Chesney's guitar player, and they were on the road. I said, will you please, they were recording at the same time. And I said, please get this to Kenny. It's smash for him, so I don't know if it happened or if it's going to happen, but it will happen on somebody. But it's just a topic that it seems to be in a lot of my songwriters' beings when it comes to the outdoors. A lot of times we'd step out. I had 4.5 acres, our house in Franklin. And it's funny, you talk about turkey. When I go turkey hunting with my friends when I was in college, I didn't have the patience because there was nothing ever. And then when I went to Nashville and I had my house, I'd see 12 of them walking in a line every day, right? In that perfect little line, they'd go and they'd head from south, north. They didn't walk from north to south. They just kind of look at me. And I was going, you guys, you son of a guns. But it seems to be they're more abundant or around, or like when you don't have a gun, So, but I do know that they love to turkey hunt as well. And Erin Enderlin was telling me, she grew up on a turkey farm where her family, they rang turkeys' necks, it was part of the deal. There was a part of their, they were in the turkey business, so. Yeah.
Hey, really, one of the reasons why you see more turkeys today is because Mississippi adopted the North American Wildlife Conservation Model. And if you think about bringing turkeys back and alligators and white-tailed deer, I mean, there was a time in this state where you could go hunting and maybe not see a turkey or not see a deer or not even have a chance of seeing one. And today they're abundant. And so we've built all of our successes. I mean, the legacy of Mississippi is built on this model, the North American Wildlife Conservation Model. And the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks has used that as sort of their principle for managing and conserving that resource. And it has really paid off. I mean, what you're telling is a story of success.
You talk about that. That's the system really working, right? And figuring it out and it working. So that's always good to see that there's that when somebody puts a plan in place and you follow it, look what happens. When you go hunting, you could have success now because they're actually there.
Hey, Steve, I think your friends though have getting back to getting into the outdoors is sort of a central theme of a lot of their music. It could be that when they have a broken heart, the first thing they're going to go back to is the basics in life, and that's the thing that gives them happiness, so they're going to do it that way. Or maybe it's the generational love they have of hunting with a father or a grandfather or a mother or a grandmother or family member, and there's just something about that. But you know, good songwriters have to be really in touch with the core values in life, don't they?
There's no doubt. So I don't know any songwriter that doesn't have that. That's interesting that you brought that up. I don't know if I've ever thought of that in terms of core values, but yeah, they go deep. You know, there's a feeling you get when you're at peace fishing and in the woods and with your friends, or at the end of the day or in the morning having coffee with them, and at the end of the day, whether you had success or not, you're together. There's a gathering. There's a building of relationship. There's communication. And there's communication with nature, right? I mean, those things are just gifts that we get to experience that are, I mean, and they come unconditionally. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think those values, that funny. And then you realize those feelings are what you write about. So a love affair with a human being, I mean, when you've got the great outdoors and you've got a I guess a canvas to write on. You know, that canvas is that. And it all works together in songs. I mean, you got me thinking right now about something I was working on today, just maybe tapping into the feeling you get when you are sitting there out on the water, you know?
Yeah, there's really no doubt about that. You know, actually, there's a song in there somewhere in you about fishing off Mississippi's coast, and I've got to get you down here so my sons and I and you can go 100 miles offshore and take it all in. You'll be blown away.
Or I get a little seasick at times. So you got to make
Yeah,
sure.
we're gonna fix that. I got all kinds of things that can help you with that. But you know, no doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, man, that's what your song "One Mississippi," the theme song for this show, and the state song for Mississippi. That's what One Mississippi is all about. It's getting in touch with the core values of this state, isn't it? I mean, that's the bottom line.
It really is. And I think you saw a lot of that before I did. And so kudos to you for giving it some wings to help it become the state song. I mean, everything that was done along the way from writing it as the bicentennial song to there, you were part of that journey with me. And so I appreciate you as well. You know, the kids at St. Joe at my alma mater, huge difference. And then when you get Morgan Freeman and Chapel Hart and Bobby Rush and Dorothy Moore and Jerry Lee Lewis before he passes away and Marty Stewart, everybody comes together on it. I guess we know we did something all right. Pretty good.
Yeah, I know you've done something all right. It's good. By the way, our friends at Chapel Hart are on tour, and it's great seeing them out there having success, isn't it?
They're rocking, man. They are great ladies, incredibly talented at what you call paying your dues. You know, they really did it. So they didn't, you know, when they showed up on the TV show that they were on, they had already paid their dues. So they were prepared. It's what do you call it? When preparation meets opportunity.
Yes.
Waiting for it because they had been preparing. So I'm so proud of them. They are Mississippi, and they deserve it, man. I really think they're gonna take home that gold award at the CMAs, like Stapleton and Maren Morris did, and Ashley McBride. I wouldn't doubt it if they are nominated for and win Best New Artist of the Year. I could see it.
I can see it too, because listen, man, they write their own music. They're prolific writers, and their music has such a great connection to the heart and soul of country music. There's no faking it. It's one of the most authentic groups, and their harmonies are incredible. One of my most popular shows I did on the coast, my show on the coast, Coast View, was with the three of them. And they're authentic. They are down to earth. They love life, and it shows in everything they're doing. And I really can't say enough good things about them.
Tell you this, that Darius Rucker immediately gravitated toward them, and I've known Darius for a lot of years, and I know Darius. He's a regular guy that's a superstar. So, and you have to have a lot of regular normalcy in you, and those core values you were talking about earlier. Darius sensed that. He knew it with them, and that's why he jumped on board and they're doing some stuff together or doing a song together. The bottom line is I know Darius knows that, and that's why he did it. So there's another shining example of the spirit that they represent and what really is how wonderful they are. They're just wonderful ladies. I'm so proud of them.
Hey, so when you get your songwriter friends together, and I'm curious, did you sing One Mississippi at your music festival?
And I mean, but I'm working so much that I asked everybody, could I take off? So I just hosted it, and I sat back and relaxed. And they were going, "Are you not playing?" And I said, "Well, I've been playing. I played 3 times this week. I was the master of ceremonies at the World Music Conference. I've got to play 3 more times this week. I'm coming to do the Give Awards, host the Give Awards Tuesday in Jackson. I'm nonstop." And I said, "I need a break. I just want to watch you guys." And they were cool with it. But
yeah, but they're proud of you, aren't they? Are they proud of you or what?
Be up here, and I said, "No, I'm happy. I'm happy."
But they're proud of you for doing One Mississippi, aren't they?
Oh, listen, they're like, every time they keep going. Jim Moose Brown just got a Willie Nelson cut. Jim was just nominated again for Best Musician of the Year, piano player by the CMAs, ACMs or CMAs. I'm sorry, I can't keep up. But many times he wrote 5 o'clock somewhere, and he said, "Do you realize you have the state song of Mississippi? That's the coolest thing that any of us have ever done." He goes, "It's just he can't get over it, And so that's great, and I agree. It is the coolest thing I've done.
And when we listen to the breaks for coming into Super Talk Outdoors, and we hear you saying fertile fields and so on, man, does that fit? Does that fit with this show? I can't tell you how much I appreciate you letting us kind of use that song as the theme song. But it's been great to catch up with you, my friend.
You too, buddy. Yeah, I love you, pal. Kyle,
you're the best. Love you too, my friend. Hey, when we come back, we'll talk to Adam Butler, and we'll talk about some really important conversations that continue to be had around turkey hunting. We'll see you after this.
I said 3 Mississippi to this land called home. I'll breathe Mississippi till I'm dead and gone. Just carry on. I'll carry on. Mississippi walls and fall football. A Gulf Coast sunset and a Delta.
Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. I really enjoyed that conversation with my friend Steve Azar. He's a special dude, man, and I can totally get why he is the music and cultural ambassador for Mississippi. And this thing that he does, the Mockingbird Songwriters Festival this past weekend in Leland, is this great opportunity to bring all these people from all over the country who've written so many #1 songs. And they come here and they experience the Delta, and they go back home and they tell all their friends about it. Some of them write songs about it. So you just never know what the impact's going to be. Now let's move over to my friend Adam Butler, who's head of the Wild Turkey program for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. And first of all, say good morning to you. How you doing, Adam?
Man, I'm doing great. Beautiful spring morning out there in the Magnolia State.
It is. It is. Hey, listen, you got a chance to meet Steve during the break. He's a good dude, isn't he?
Oh, I'm a little starstruck, like I'm just some old country boy from Lawrence County, and I mean he's a legitimate country music superstar. So that's pretty cool. You're right though. I mean Mississippi, like our influence on just music, all forms of music, not just here but like around the world. Like we definitely got to celebrate that more. We've had a huge impact on that. I don't have any music talent myself, but I can appreciate the role that Mississippi and the Delta and so many people have played on music across the whole entire planet.
Yeah, it's the home of American music, and we say it all the time. But yeah, Steve's just a great guy, and the reality of it is that he enjoyed meeting you as much as you enjoy meeting him. That's how
about that.
That's how
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, I forgot to mention this to you, but during our conversation, he said actually that when he used to, he went to Delta State, and he said when he used to go hunting with his friends, that they would go hunting for turkey and never see a turkey. And then as time went on, he would start to see more turkey. And I mentioned, this is the important thing we did. We had the North American Wildlife Conservation model that we put in place in Mississippi that brought white-tailed deer and turkey and alligators and other species back. And we embraced it 100%. And that, I mean, at the core of Mississippi's success is this, getting back to the basics as it relates to our conservation efforts. And we've had a lot of success, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, wild turkeys are one of the greatest success stories there, where if you go back 100 years, we nearly lost wild turkeys, and through a lot of efforts of the Game and Fish Commission, my agency, back in the day, and partner organizations, and policymakers, and private citizens wanting to see them return. I mean, there's just so many facets to it, but definitely turkeys have been a great conservation success story, and we're really blessed to have them. And I'm probably biased, but Mississippi is well known for turkey hunting and the role that turkeys have had in our outdoor culture here. We got a lot to be thankful for here in Mississippi.
And Adam, one of the reasons I enjoy doing this show so much is that it gives me an opportunity to talk about why the North American wildlife conservation model that we've embraced in the state are so important. We don't need to deviate from that in any way. We just don't. We need to keep that at the core of our approach. And I love having the opportunity along the way to talk to people about why that's so important. But Aldo Leopold was a visionary when he came up with that model, and every state that has put it in place has been thrilled that they did it, because it's been a generational success story. It really has been. You're talking about the work that we do in conservation today is as much for our enjoyment today, but we're doing it for our kids and our kids' kids going forward, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you're talking about the North American model. Our system of conservation and wildlife, and the opportunity that people have to enjoy that wildlife here in the United States is really the envy of the world. I mean, you look at most of the rest of the planet, people can't go out and go hunting and enjoy these resources the way we can here. And we really take that for granted, because it is so readily available here to us. And it is just such a part of the fabric of our culture and everything that we sometimes forget it. It didn't always have to be this way. And there's a lot of places where it's not this way, so definitely we need to double down on all of our conservation efforts to make sure that our, generations from now, that they can enjoy the same stuff.
And we are so lucky to have people like you and so many others who lead efforts for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, who are really planted in those principles, and so much success because of our forefathers in conservation in this state were so smart. Hey, man, I keep hearing great reports. I mentioned that we're going to talk about the commission meeting last week and some really, really important conversations and decisions that were made around managing the turkey seasons and turkey hunting going forward. We'll talk about that more in just a second. But what I'm seeing in social media, what people are sending to me to post on the Super Talk Outdoors Facebook page and social media pages is this has been a really great season.
Well, so far, it really looks like it's definitely an improvement over the last several years. We've got our game check system, so turkey hunters are required to report their harvest, by 10 p.m. on the day of the harvest. And so that gives us like an instantaneous barometer of how things are going. That system's been in place for 5 years, and right now the total harvest that's reported to this point in the season is actually running a good bit above where it would be at this point in the season the last several years. So all indications are this has been a good season, or been a much improved season for a lot of people. And man, the thing that I'm hearing from hunters, and I'm hearing it from every part of the state, is just the number of jakes out there. People encountering big flocks of jakes, jakes coming in and running off the longbeards and that sort of stuff. And so that corroborates what our hatch data had showed for last summer. We knew we had a really, really big hatch. And what I'm hearing from the field from hunters absolutely goes along with that there's a lot of new young turkeys in the woods, a lot of jakes. And so this year is an improvement, but next year should be just absolutely phenomenal. And so I think, there's been a lot of doom and gloom about turkeys the last couple of years, but I think we're definitely in a moment now where there's reason for optimism, at least for, looking forward for a couple of years.
Yes, my son Jordan has been many times, and he tells that same story. He's seen a lot of jakes. And I mentioned to you that Senator Jeremy England from Jackson County did a social media post. I think he said it was the first time he had gone alone, and had a great experience. Had gobbling going on and talking back and forth and whatever. When it finally got into view, it was a jake, and he wasn't able to shoot it. But to read what he wrote about it in social media was, you could tell he didn't need to shoot it. He had such a great time just having that conversation and hearing that gobble. And that's what turkey hunting is all about. Sometimes you don't have to pull the trigger, do you?
Oh yeah, well, most of the time you don't pull the trigger if you're a turkey hunter. But yeah, a lot of times the bird that you work and that you get so close on but gets away, that's the one that really puts his hooks in you, that brings you back for more. I mentioned to you earlier about my son is finally old enough now where he's starting to carry the gun. And Easter morning, man, we had a long beard at 20 steps, and he's still new and he's still trying to figure out exactly what to do. And he moved like right at the last second. He moved just a little bit too much, and the bird picked us out and got out of there. But to me, it was a phenomenal hunt. We Easter morning, we made it out of the woods in time for Easter church, and not getting the bird, I think, definitely got him hooked. He can't wait to go back, now. So sometimes the one that gets away does more than the one you bring home.
Well, look, a family that hunts together stays together, and getting him hooked will maybe save his life. And I can certainly say that about my relationship with my boys, man. I'm so thankful that we have the outdoors to connect on. And if you could see this room I'm in, it's full of outdoor activities of all sorts, and it's all about bringing family together. I mentioned that you had a great commission meeting last week, which was really kind of the culmination of a lot of work that you've done that's going to give law enforcement really a tool they can use to deal with outlaws, because for all this data that you're gathering, there's still this percentage of people that aren't reporting, that don't care about bag limits, et cetera. And then there's another aspect to it that's going to create a lot of data for you that's going to be really, really important to managing that resource going forward. So congratulations, first of all, on the support that you're getting from the commission, and 4-1 vote. And so talk to me more about what you did.
Yeah, sure. And I appreciate that. And really do want to take the opportunity to just express appreciation to our commission for allowing our staff, the time and opportunity to try to really look at where we're going with turkey management from every possible angle. If someone who is a turkey hunter has really paid attention to much of the media over the last couple of years, they realize that there's a lot of concern across the United States about turkey populations, and a lot of states have done things and changed things that people see, and so it's put pressure on us to take a look at things. But our commission has allowed us time to kind of really look and take a deep dive and have patience to come to a resolution.
Let's do this. There are three major components of what you presented, and we'll get into what those are on the other side. We'll see you after this break with Adam Butler, who's head of the Wild Turkey Program for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. We'll see you after this break.
Out on his limb, whistling that sweet soul for him. I said 3 Mississippi to this land called home. I'll breathe Mississippi till I'm dead and gone. Just carry on, I'll carry on, Mississippi.
We live in one of the best places in America to enjoy the outdoors. So let's talk about it. It's Super Talk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. I have my friend Adam Butler, who's head of the Wild Turkey Program for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. And I do say my friend. One of the beauties of doing this show, Adam, has been the opportunity to get to know all the department heads that are working so hard on behalf of the citizens of Mississippi so we can remain the capital of the outdoors in the state of Mississippi. It's been just a pleasure getting to know you over the last year or two. It really has been.
Appreciate that.
So,
yeah.
So it was fun watching that meeting. You got a lot of support. You laid a lot of groundwork over more than one meeting, obviously. You presented in a really terrific way. Again, you had a 4-1 vote to move forward, but there were 3 main components of what you presented and what was approved for public comment. So why don't you, well, first of all, I say public comment, why don't you remind people what happens after, even though you get an affirmative vote, there's a comment period. Talk about that and then talk about the 3 things.
Sure. Yeah, and that's a good point because so the commission, essentially can act on specific rules where the legislature has given them authority to, and when they make a vote, as they did last Thursday, those votes go into a 30-day comment period, with the goal being they want to hear from the citizenry of the state, how they feel about the proposed regulation changes. And we do that for every rule change, and these turkey rules are no different. So they're in the 30-day comment period. We have, my understanding, I haven't seen it personally, but my understanding is we have a banner up on our website right now where somebody wants to comment on the rules, they can go and do that. But yeah, it's there to hear from the people, how they feel about the recommendations and the things that are being adopted. And so those rules won't go final until May, until the next commission meeting in mid-May.
Okay, so let's break them all down.
Sure. The first, and really, I would argue, the most important to us, that will be certainly a paradigm shifting change here in Mississippi, is the implementation of a tagging system. And so we've had, as I mentioned a little bit ago, we've had a mandatory harvest reporting system. This is the 5th season of it now. The harvest reporting component is all about getting data and information, so folks like myself can understand what's going on around the state with turkey harvest and be able to be making informed recommendations and decisions. Tagging is a complement to that, and it's a complement that provides a tool to our law enforcement officers to enforce the existing bag limit. We've had several really high-profile cases over the last couple of years where our officers have done a really good job finding poachers who don't know how to stay within the law, and tagging gives them an additional tool to be able to do their job. For hunters that go out of state, they should be something that's really familiar to them. There's wild turkey hunting in 49 states. By my last tally, 37 of those 49 states have some form of tagging system that at the point of harvest, hunters are required to tag their birds. So that's what this would be. This would be tags. When you take a turkey, you invalidate the tag, you put it on the animal, and it stays with the animal till it's processed.
And it's putting outlaws on notice. That's what
we hope so. And I mean, and definitely, there's no system that's going to be 100% foolproof, but we really, given all the worry that's around turkeys right now, we need to make it clear that, abiding by the law is important, and we need to give our law enforcement every opportunity they can to enforce what's on the books, because we don't need people illegally taking from the legal hunters who are doing everything they can to manage this resource.
Yeah, for sure. And okay, the second thing you guys,
the second component, we've had we've heard a lot from a lot of hunters about our season framework, when the season starts and that sort of a thing. And, we put together a comprehensive management plan several years ago, and we talked to different focal groups when we did that. Every single one of them told us that we need to take a deep dive look at our spring season framework. And after doing that, if folks want to see sort of the long version of how we came to this conclusion, I was able to present to the commission in February at the education session there. That is up on our YouTube page. You go to the MDWFP YouTube page, you can see the full, it's 45 minutes long presentation on everything we looked at, all the data we collected to come to a conclusion on these recommendations. But regarding the spring turkey season, we're recommending reverting back to the framework that had been in place from 1980 to 2004. So the season under that framework, this turkey season would open on the Saturday closest to March the 20th. That's a little bit of a shift from where we're currently at. It's going to allow hunters to experience more gobbling activity and hopefully have a better quality season. The third component is we're recommending to eliminate the fall season, which exists in certain zones. Fall hunting can diminish spring populations through time, and Mississippi is a spring turkey hunting state. And so we feel like that's the one thing we can do to help those who really want to hear turkeys gobbling on spring mornings.
So we're going to be into a commenting period now. And I really appreciate you guys leading on this. You did a great job at the commission meeting. Good to see the commission supporting you on a vote of 4-1. And with that said, thank you for your time, Adam.
Yep. Thank y'all.
This has been Adam Butler, head of the Wild Turkey Program for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. And as I end every show, stay safe when you're in the outdoors. Always put safety first. God bless you, and we'll see you next Monday.